Before beginning this video, I have to put up a spoiler warning, as I will be recapping the entire movie. If you have not watched Ferris Bueller's Day Off and wish to do so, stop now. Ferris Bueller's Day Off is a movie about a 17-year-old who skips school by pretending to be sick and takes in the delights of New York City instead. There's the A plot, which follows Ferris and his friends, and then the B plot, which follows Ferris's principal and his younger sister as they individually try to catch him in his lie. I'll quickly go over most of the A plot, and then I'll tie in the B plot near the end. It starts with Ferris faking an illness and tricking his parents into allowing him to stay home. Ferris calls up his quote-unquote sick friend, Cameron. Ferris explains that Cameron is depressed by his unloving and absent family and imagines illnesses upon himself. He's a hypochondriac. And Cameron reluctantly picks Ferris up. After tricking the principal into letting Ferris's girlfriend come along with them, the trio heads to New York City in Cameron's father's Ferrari, a very valuable and rare car which Cameron's dad loves more than his son. They leave the car with a very trustworthy attendant and leave to experience New York. The gang gets into some hijinks. They take in the sight from the tallest building in New York, they go to a baseball game, through Ferris's trickery they eat out at an exclusive restaurant which Ferris's dad frequents and nearly get caught. Ferris joins a parade and becomes its lead singer, and then they head back home. On the way home, they find that the attendant has been taking the car for a joyride the entire time and has added a substantial amount of miles to the car, and Cameron is understandably horrified at what his father will say. He freezes in shock until they relax in Ferris's pool, and Cameron realizes that stealing his dad's car and going to New York was worth it because he had, quote, the best day of my life. They take the car home and try to remove the miles, but when it doesn't work, Cameron loses it and starts kicking the running car, leading to it accelerating out the elevated garage and being destroyed. Ferris offers to take the blame, but Cameron says he needs this opportunity to stand up to his dad, and Ferris is just like, okay sport, you got this, and leaves him.
Clear!
Doctor, he's gone.
This is the part of the job I hate.
Ferris parts from his girlfriend, and this is where the B plot joins the main story. So in the background, the principal, Rooney, has been trying to bust Ferris. He dislikes Ferris because he sees him as a rival to his authority. He wants to catch Ferris to show the other kids that skipping school is a first-class ticket to nowhere. After being tricked by Ferris into letting Ferris's girlfriend Sloane leave the school, catching Ferris becomes an obsession with him, and he becomes increasingly unhinged in his quest to bring down Ferris. After failing to find Ferris at local hotspots, he waits outside his home, and finally, after some preamble with the dog, he breaks in, encounters Ferris's sister, and in his haste to get out, leaves his wallet on the floor, which is found by Ferris's sister. Rooney slinks around for a little while, before returning to the Bueller's house, and hiding in their backyard, where he finally catches Ferris as Ferris tries to get back to his house before his parents get home. Meanwhile, Ferris's sister has been trying to catch Ferris because she's jealous that he has the nerve to skip school, and she feels that she wouldn't get away with it. She comes home from school early to prove that he's not at home, runs into the principal, calls police, is not believed, taken into custody, runs into a bad boy, gets converted to the school of Ferris Bueller by said bad boy, kisses him until mom takes her home. On the way home, she sees Ferris, tries to beat him home by speeding, gets a ticket, runs inside, and when she sees Rooney confronting Ferris, she decides to save Ferris by showing Rooney his wallet, proving he had broken in before. The movie concludes with happy endings for all, except for Principal Rooney, who has to ride the school bus home in shame because while he was entering the house of one of his students illegally, his car got towed. When I first heard about this movie, I thought I wouldn't like it because I didn't like that the movie glorifies the hero skipping school. As I watched, I didn't really care that Ferris skipped school. I enjoy history and the lecture sounded interesting, but the man teaching it made it sound really dry. My mom skipped school way more than Ferris did up until college, and she still did well because she would talk with her father who was a Latin teacher and she would read. My problem with the movie isn't Ferris skipping school, but that he skips to pursue his own pleasure instead. When I watched Ferris Bueller's Day Off, before I knew that John Hughes had written it, it reminded me a lot of Home Alone. And it also reminded me of a variety of books I had read when I was 10 or so, books like Homer Price. In all of these are near escapes, over-the-top comedy, and a demand for suspension of disbelief. There's nothing wrong with it, I've just read it too many times to enjoy it. It reminds me of the phrase, "I see you published a new book. What are you calling it this time?" Ferris Bueller's Day Off follows the same banal comedic formula of all of John Hughes' movies that I've seen. The message of Ferris Bueller is that real life is pursuing pleasure, be it through cars, women, or popularity. Furthermore, it teaches that you will achieve happiness when you follow the world's dictums. Talk this way, dress this way, act this way. I was told that the point of the movie is Ferris teaching Cameron to be courageous, as well as to live in the moment. But he gives no firm footing for Cameron to be courageous from, just disobeying your bad dad and living it up in the city. Cameron's encounter with his dad is left out of the film because what is he going to say? "You hurt me badly by loving possessions more than me, but today I learned the real value of life, pursuing pleasure." And for sure, Hughes could just add in a self-righteous scene where Ferris tells off his old man for his faults, and his father brokenly admits to them and gives Cameron money or something. But that's what Hollywood exists for. To have lifestyles that are impossible to maintain in real life work in a fantasy land. Cameron doesn't have confidence based in truth. He has chutzpah. Move aside, old man, and make way for the new, cool generation. I love it because in trying to defy his bad parent, he becomes him. There are 4 substitutes for God in your life you can divinize instead: power, pleasure, honor, and possessions. Cameron's dad goes for possessions. Cameron, through Ferris's teaching, goes for pleasure. As for living in the moment, it's just a euphemism for doing what you feel like in the moment without worrying about the fallout. How can it be wrong if it feels so right? So should you watch it? Here's what I think. Ferris Bueller's Day Off is a bad life guide cloaked in a mediocre comedy plot. In addition to the main point being bad, Hughes felt the need to prove to the PG-13 audience that this was a grown-up and therefore trustworthy film. He did this with a truckload of bad language and sexual references. 4 out of 10, would not recommend.